South Africa's endemic levels of gender-based violence have taken on even more criminal and strange turns. Today, a suspect had to be rescued from an angry mob after he was found wheeling a trolley, allegedly carrying a bag stuffed with a woman's body. According to bystanders, the 38-year-old male suspect was heading to a dumping site in Barberton in Mpumalanga when he caught the attention of nearby women who said the trolley appeared to be unusually heavy, following which they flagged down a taxi driver to help them inspect it, and then the bag fell out, revealing its grisly contents. Barberton police have the man in custody and he's been taken to hospital under police guard. The identity of his alleged victim, a 19-year-old woman, is not yet known. Themba Masango, the Secretary General of Social Justice Movement Not In My Name, joins us to discuss the incident and to talk about the rampant levels of GBV crimes in South Africa. Good evening and welcome to the program. Another night and another young woman taken for reasons yet unknown. There are reports coming through that these two would have known each other and they might have been in a relationship. But your reaction on hearing this story?
Good evening, Iman, and definitely yet another sad and horrifying story in South Africa, where we are finding that the femicide rate continues to go. You would know that our femicide rate in South Africa is 5.1 times higher than anywhere in the world. And it shows you that South African men seem to have waged a war against the women. And it is really saddening, it is disheartening, it is horrific that any human being would want to go to those lengths to get rid of somebody to a point.
Oh, we seem to be struggling with that signal and a picture with Themba Masango. We're talking about this incident that was reported in Mpumalanga regarding the discovery of a woman's body in a trolley that was being pushed by a man near a dump site in the area. Let's just see if we can re-establish with Themba, otherwise we are going to move on. Themba, are you there?
I'm sorry about that, Iman.
Okay.
And I was saying it is completely horrific and evil that this person could have done this atrocity to a woman. And, it is really disheartening in this country where our femicide rates are so high. We are notoriously known as a rape capital of the world. And it seems as though it does not come to an end. And I'm going to tell you that it needs stringent, not just the laws, but the actioning of the laws, especially when it comes to after a person has been arrested and when it comes to the courthouses. We need to make sure that we really come down hard on these perpetrators because, South African men don't do this because they know that, it's wrong, but they do it because they know that there's no consequences to what is going to, happen to them after the act. So we need to actually make sure that our courts are really stringent for such crimes where somebody has been disembodied and killed. It shows you that this person premeditated this, thought this through. And, it goes back to the old age saying, sometimes an eye for an eye will actually work in deterring these perpetrators.
Yeah, I mean, it's a controversial saying that you've shared there. We've heard a counterpart to that, an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. But the point you're raising is that there has to be something actionable, something impactful that reverses the fate of women, children and the most vulnerable in South African society. And just to correct myself, that incident happened at the weekend. It didn't happen today. It's not a good time to be a woman in South Africa, was what the police minister has said in this year's crime stats. Tell this chilling story of violence against women. What have you learned in these 5 years or so since you began about how best the authorities, together with communities, can reverse the levels of violence without going the route that you've alluded to just now?
Well, one thing that it shows us is that there seems to be no actual plan or understanding from the leadership of the police with regards to the grave impact that this situation has on South Africans. Two, we have actually put down a plan to say that we need to work on actually training the police with regards to issues of gender-based violence and this type of femicide when it comes to the front desk, because many of them are not 100% equipped when it comes to that. And we've got a program in place called Train Them All, where it's not just about the community, but also with regards to the police who actually deal with these cases at the beginning of it. Because many a times you'll find that the victim gets blamed. You'll find people saying, but she was warned to stay away from such a person and so on, forgetting that the psychological effects of abuse are not the normal things of normal crimes. You know, you have issues like the Stockholm syndrome. You have issues where people start thinking, oh no, my perpetrator will change and so on, because of the socioeconomics that face people in this country. And we cannot start blaming the victims of this crime. We have to make sure that we focus on the perpetrator, because a murderer is a murderer is a murderer. So we need to be able to be clear on those issues and make sure that when those things come to court, there's no ambiguity around cases of especially femicide. And really why this issue of saying that if you know, euthanasia or whatever it is should be something that should be mooted and be spoken about in court, because of crimes such as this, especially of femicide. You know, I understand other issues, but especially where it's premeditated, where it's thought through, where a person goes and takes another human being's life in such a way, should not be excusable. And we need political force to come behind the judicial force and the public's force, and make sure that this is clear, actionable, and there's clear understanding that this cannot be accepted.
Themba Masango, thank you very much. We would have loved to have talked about the the fund for gender-based violence and where that money goes and whether it is having the kind of impact that is needed in this context.
And it's not. And we'd like to know where
but if we have time in a future interview, we will invite you back. That not in my name, Secretary General Themba Masango.